The audience is larger than the number of people you see here. It will be placed on YouTube. I'll send a link to all the candidates as well as the community, and also place it on our local access cable channel, so the audience will be much larger than what you see here. And then the people that receive that link can spread it to all their friends and family. So thank you all for coming. If you haven't done so yet, please help yourself to some coffee and cake. It's nice to see some familiar faces I haven't seen in a number of years. And I guess I'll start now by reading the guidelines for the Congressional Candidates Forum. First of all, I want to welcome and thank for coming Congressman Alcee Hastings. Let's have a big hand of applause. And you can stand up to be liked or just wave. And also Sheila, if I can pronounce that correctly. Okay. I want to make sure I get this correctly. Sheila Cherfulis?
Yes.
Cherfulis McCormick, yes. Also. Please give her a warm welcome. Thank you. And now I will read the guidelines. The forum will begin shortly at 7:15. First, I will read these guidelines. Each candidate shall have 3 minutes for an uninterrupted opening statement, beginning with Congressman Hastings. Upon completion of the opening statements, audience members shall raise their hands in an orderly fashion to be called in turn by the moderator to ask questions of the candidates. Questions shall not exceed 1 minute, and they may be asked directly to either of the candidates or both candidates in general. Questions are limited to 1 per audience member, unless all the other audience members wishing to ask questions have already done so before this portion of the forum ends. If everybody has asked a question who wanted to, then we can go back and go a second round and have those people who have already asked a question ask a second question. Also, in order to give equal opportunity for both candidates to answer questions, no candidate shall be asked more than 2 questions in a row unless the question is directed at both candidates in general. The candidate shall have up to 2 minutes to respond without interruption. In the event a candidate mentions or addresses another candidate in their answer, the other candidate may have up to 1 minute rebuttal, not to exceed 2 exchanges. Let me get up there so I can see you all there. All participants are expected to allow each other to speak without interruption. Common courtesy shall prevail. The candidate shall have the opportunity to give a 2-minute uninterrupted closing statement commencing approximately at 7:55, beginning with the congressman. And then we will have the school board portion. So once again, please help me welcome our candidates. And we will begin. Also, I have some timer cards. I will give you the 90-second warning with the yellow, and then the 30-second warning with the red. So beginning with Congressman Hastings, 3 minutes. Please give us your opening statement. You may come up to the lectern if you prefer, or stay there, whichever you prefer.
John, thank you, and I thank the residents of International Village, and I understand, as you said, that we are live streaming. That's something that I just spoke about at the Urban League, the need to expand the ability for more people to be involved with the process of, when I think about education, I talk a lot about the fact that it needs to be modernized, and we have kids that are competing with kids all over the world, and they need to be in the position to be able to do so. So thank you all for being here. I'm a native Floridian, and I've been in South Florida now for 54 years. When I came here, it was in the halcyon days of segregation, and the first thing that I did was file a lawsuit against a Holiday Inn because they wouldn't permit me to stay there. And shortly thereafter, I filed the original school desegregation case here in Broward County that led to of the integration of our schools. I was born in Altamont Springs, Florida. There was no Disney World for you young people that are here. And times were pretty difficult for all of us, but one of my proudest moments is the fact that I represent the city of Pahokee. And my grandmother, in an effort to let me raise money to go to the fair, let me come down on the bean truck to Pahokee to pick beans. And to now represent them is a real privilege. And it's been sort of an uphill struggle because they're in a rural community and the farm territory has its downsides. But I issued a statement today that is off target. I'll get a chance to talk about infrastructure and jobs and healthcare and telemedicine and all of the things that I've been involved as either a sponsor or co-sponsor of the legislation. But 2 days ago was the anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. And I issued this statement. The Voting Rights Act was enacted on the simple premise that every American should be able to vote, period. And for too long, entrenched racist policies prevented African Americans and other racial minorities from casting their ballots across the country. The Voting Rights Act changed that by establishing new protections for minority voters nationwide. More than a half century later, our country has regrettably slid backwards in the fight to ensure access to the ballot. I filed after the 2000 election the original legislation that's referred to as the Help America Vote Act. That has now gone backwards in addition to the election assistance measure. The reason I raise that is our voting rights are particularly critical for all of us. There are a variety of issues and they come under a heading that I like to refer to as the inseparable triumvirate of inadequate jobs, inadequate housing, and inadequate educational opportunity. With that in mind, I'm hopeful that Sheila and I will have an opportunity to address any or all of your questions, and hopefully we'll be able to talk about substantive issues along the way. But thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Congressman, and now Sheila.
Good afternoon. Let me move out here so I can see you guys, you can see me. My name is Sheila Shaffelis-McCormick. I'm a daughter of Broward County. I've been living in Broward County since I was 13 years old, went to high school in Broward County, went to Howard University for undergrad. I went to University of Maryland, completed substantial work towards my MBA, and I also went to St. Thomas University for law school. Presently, I'm a owner of a home health agency. We employ over 600 people. I also lobby in DC on healthcare issues that usually concern our company and the people in our company. We service a lot of people who are Medicaid and Medicare. So now everybody asks me, well, why are you running now? What is it that's making you run now? The truth is there's an inner knowing when it's time. It's our time. The reason I say it's our time is because I just saw an article where it said that women are only getting paid 63% of what other people are earning. How is it that we're in 2018 and women are still not getting paid equally? Then I looked around in my community and I said, you know what, I felt this. This is one of the things that made me run. I realized that as a business owner, when I apply for contracts, sometimes I don't get those contracts. But there's somebody else who gets the contract who doesn't look like anybody in here. And they come to me to subcontract. Why is that? Why is no one speaking up for the women in our community who actually are overeducated? Overeducated, we're overqualified, but yet we're still underpaid. These are the things that we have to bring to light. I'm running to complete those things, the things that our parents started. There's also a gap that I've noticed. No one's talking about how we're going to actually leverage ourselves to get to the future. If we look at our economic status right now, we're not mobile. Some people are actually making some money, but then the predatory lenders are taking it all away from us. And this is what made me say, you know what, this is why it's time for me to run now. If we look at the actual way they've been voting when it comes to predatory lenders, when we see how much money is actually going into the accounts, the campaign accounts for predatory lenders, it disappointed me. It made me say, you know what, I have to do something. Because our community has so many resources that, you know what, we can strike a new deal. We do. When I talk to all the people in the community, when I go out there and I'm knocking on doors, I see how rich our community is. Our community, our district, which spans all the way over to Belgrade, encompasses Miramar and these middle areas in Broward County, it's the richest. I realized that there was a need for cooperative agreements. Cooperative agreements between the people in Broward County and the people in Belgrade. What I realized also is that we have a big issue where we have a lot of people who are eating these fake foods that are making us sick. But what if we can give a grant to allow the farmers in Belgrade to come in and do farmers markets right here? We'll be circulating our money in our community with us. Now, what if we get further? What if we gave a grant to the older people in our community, the baby boomers, who have all the knowledge? They know professionalism, they know ethics, and they know resilience. These are the things that I don't find when I'm hiring people, especially the millennials. I'm a Generation Xer. I can tell you, the stuff that the generation who went before us, what they know what to do, we need it in our society. That's why I'm running, to take us further, so we can actually have a chance and be on the front foot this time. It's great to talk about all the things of the past. And I grew up in Broward County. You can't grow up in Broward County without looking up to Alcee Hastings. I heard about him and what he did, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna do that too, and that's why I went to a black college, but we've come to a place now where things gotta change. The change that's needed, it has to come from the people who've been on the ground. One of the things I'm advocating for also are term limits. When you're in Congress for too long, you can't feel what we're suffering. Everything that I talk about is everything that I feel living here. Once again, my name is Sheila Sheffield McCormick. I have the sign here, so that means I must end. Thank you.
Thank you both, and now we'll go to the audience. Any questions, please raise your hand in an orderly fashion, and I'll call on you as I see your hand go up. Don't all raise your hand at the same time. Let's see. Oh, I see a hand back there. Could you, it's all the way in the corner over there.
My name is Ramupur. I've been living in the US for 31 years, and I've been voting for Mr. Hastings since I became a citizen, and never regret one day that I voted for you. Thank you. And this question is for both of you. When I realized that Congress, everybody in public offices having health care for either nothing or pay less for it, and us as taxpayers, it's hard for us to go to the hospital when we get sick. And because of that situation, when we get sick, we cost more money to the government. Not too long ago, I broke my collarbone and I went to emergency room. Because I have no insurance, they realized that the bone is broken and they sent me home. Just keep it stable and it will heal. Now, I have a constant pain every day. I don't get treatment. I work in the system for nearly 20 some years, paying Medicare, Medicaid, and now I'm not qualified for even the minimum. So I don't know how, I want to know how you guys are gonna try to alleviate that problem, to fix it for us that not able to get health care. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like the Congressman wants to take the question first, so.
In 1992, when I ran for the House of Representatives, I advocated what is being discussed now, and that is universal health care. We've had some unfortunate situations to occur in this state. The failure of the governor to expand Medicaid cost every one of us a lot of money. And it places upwards of 880,000 people that are vulnerable without any ability to have the necessary insurance. The issue that you described from a personal standpoint is what I refer to as we either pay now or we pay later. When people go to the emergency room, then all of us as citizens wind up paying for it. Now, I have voted for countless measures, and I have sponsored and co-sponsored countless measures dealing with the subject of health care. It's referred to as Obamacare. I'm fond of saying they should have named it Hastings/Obamacare, because I advocated before I knew Obama's name, the circumstances that we are in. But I serve on the Rules Committee. 62 times the Republicans have picked away at health care. And now they're getting ready to do, from an executive standpoint, junk health insurance, which will allow people to pay just a nominal amount of money, but not for a protracted period of time. Under Obamacare, people could have insurance for 3 years. And one of the things, speaking of women, that it will not cover is maternity care for women. I find that an abomination. I'm hopeful that Democrats will win the majority, and if they do, then we will do what's needed to fix the health care program. And I still advocate universal health care. It's being referred to now as Medicare for all. Been there, done that, doing that, will continue to do that.
To answer your question, what's really going on is that they don't have understanding in Congress. What they're proposing is that if you give health care to everybody, the assumption is you don't have enough to sustain everybody. That's what the Republicans push, that's what they want us to believe. But anybody who's in healthcare who has understanding knows that's not true. If we want to correct healthcare, what we're going to have to do is figure out how do we actually have the money for it. The focus right now is not on healing people, the focus needs to be on preventative medical reversal. We see now that different diseases like diabetes can actually be reversed. When you have diseases like that being reversed, what's going to happen is the money we have now is going to be able to sustain us in the future. So once we can actually bring to the Republicans a bill that shows them your rationale for not giving health care isn't going to work, that the money you're saying, you're forecasting needs to be there, isn't true, then we can actually get real bills passed. It's not enough just to say, I sponsor a bill, or I support a cause. You actually have to know how to articulate it and prove them wrong with facts. That's what's missing, the facts. There was just a study that was done and they showed that we can actually have Medicaid for all and we can survive that. So take that study and let's add preventative health care. Take that study and let's add reversal of Medicaid. Now I have an argument for you, a bill for you that can pass because you can't contradict it. There's nothing you can say anymore to tell me that this won't work. I have proven to you it's work. And that's where we have to focus, and that's how we actually fight the opposition. We bring the facts, not just I support. What are you going to do to bring it across? And that's what we're looking for. I'm actually running so we can get these things passed and not just keep talking about it and wanting it passed. One of the things I noticed also when I was looking at it, that Congressman Hastings hasn't been able to pass something since 2009. I understand it's difficult, but when I compared it to other similarly situated congresspersons, I saw they did pass bills. And these bills were substantial bills. It wasn't just naming post offices. These are the things we have to look at. It's not to say that our congressman has an issue, but maybe something changed. Maybe we can inject something different into the bill, like cost, telemedicine, and other factors that will show them this bill can work. Thank you.
Okay, do we have another question for the congressman or or Sheila? Any other questions or for both? Do I see okay, I see a question over there.
Just want to make sure our candidates allowed to even ask questions.
Yes.
I like talking about education, obviously, I'm not a school board. So I want to know, this is a question for both. What is your position on tuition-free college for all of our young people? I'm a college student, I understand the burden. Not having enough money to pay for college. Federal subsidies and Pell Grants are not always helpful for every student. Some of us still have to pay out of our pockets for college. So, you know, we are a generation that is graduating from college and going out into the world, $100,000, $200,000 in debt. And I don't think that's right. I think that's immoral. And I think that we need to move on in our life to be able to participate in society as productive members of society without having $100,000, $200,000 in debt on our shoulders. So my question to both of you is, will you support tuition-free college, if the Democrats get majority or if not? this upcoming term of Congress?
That's a great question. The reason why it's a great question is because I not only have my debt, which is over $200,000, but I'm actually married to my husband's an attorney also. So together, it is real. So that is something very close to my heart. And if you look at a lot of different states, they've actually been able to enact, like New York, tuition free. And I would love for us to get to that place because I'm definitely on board with it. But I think a lot of people are rushing to colleges because our vocational schools and the job skills trainings that should be community-based aren't there. If we start having more programs in vocational schools that are actually not only dealing with what we have now, but things that we want in the future, for example, coding. You know, you can go to the Apple store on the weekend and they have coding classes. I've taken my kids there. If Apple can do a coding class, then you best believe we should be able to do a coding class at a vocational school, or even if I can give a grant to the older people who've done coding and they can teach coding. What we have to do is take the emphasis off of, I need a 4-year education to succeed, because we flood all the other markets. Other people are talented in other places, so let's get them an opportunity to make money there too. And once we can do that, we can alleviate some of the money games that are going on with education. We can alleviate some of the debt that people are suffering. So to make it short, yes, I do. And I have a plan actually to kind of lift the burden without everybody feeling like for me to succeed right now, I have to get that 4-year degree.
I just so happen to have a young lady in the audience that just came off college tours, and I have a little bit to do with her life. Her mother took care of my son at some point in time. But anyway, Athena and I also share something else. We were born on the same day somehow or another, September the 5th, this young lady right here. And I want to make sure, just like you, Elijah, that she isn't burdened with debt. Among the things that are going to be needed to reduce the cost of college is we're going to have to modernize the whole financial system. And it has been out of whack, and that's on the watch of Democrats and Republicans, me and everybody, that we have not treated the financial structure. And we've allowed many of these persons to take advantage of students and veterans, I might add, over the course of time. To answer to your question specifically, I support tuition-free college and waivers, particularly to help develop the curricula. Sheila went to Howard, so did I at one point in time. I also went to Fisk and Florida A&M University, and have had a complete involvement with our educational system first here, and as well as around this state. We need to allow formula grants for subsidized summer jobs for young people, so that they can do what she's talking about, learn coding and learn other things that we hear talk about. One thing I do want to say, I hear people talk about STEM, and it certainly makes sense that we would have these STEM situations, but I know this much. We need to make sure we are teaching pre-K children at K and 1 through 12 to read. If you can't read, you're not going to be able to do the math.
Thank you both for that. Do we have any other questions from the audience? I see a lot of people out there. Now's your chance. If not, oh, we have, okay, perfect, yes.
I came in late, but
Microphone, wait for the microphone.
So I came in late and I missed a lot of what was said, but I'm an educator and going to the different schools, I'm seeing that we have teachers from pre-K to high school. I mean, the salary is very low and the situations that they have to deal with. It starts from the roof, which is pre-K. And I wanted to find out what are the things that you guys have in place to help the teachers, not only in the classroom, but to help them to get more education where they don't have to pay money out of their pockets okay, to assist these children for our community. If you notice, we don't even have children who have, say high schoolers, first summer jobs. Most of these kids are still at home with their moms. So what are some of the things you guys have in place?